Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. I'm here with Mr. Tate Mathews as always. Tate, Week 5 football. It's hard to believe we're halfway through the regular season. And this week, 5 of the 6 matchups are region matchups. Here it is. Time to go.
Time to go. It's the way the schedule's worked out this year, but they're pretty much all, with a few exceptions, they're pretty much all region matchups from here on out. It's like that for everybody. So they're big anyways, but now they're really big.
I like that on the scheduling. Give you time to sort of figure out who you are, and then hopefully if you start in week 6, everyone's sort of who they are.
That's right. If you don't know who you are by now, barring just a rash of injuries, then it's probably not a good thing. But yeah, I like it because these are the ones that count. The goal for all of us is to get to the playoffs so we can try to get to Chattanooga. So the ones that count, yeah, I like them being after, week 1, it's kind of tough. Even if you've done a great job and you have a lot of returners, there's still a lot to work out with the dead period, which I like. We don't have a whole lot of time to get ready. So yeah, I like it.
Let's start with the WCTV game of the week. It was a good one.
Boy.
Nolensville 34-23 win over Franklin. Game day was in town. It was epic.
It was epic.
The reveal. I saw something this weekend on, they're talking about Lee Corso and, hey, no one, that's his thing and no one could ever do it. I'm going to tell you right now, I think Dr. Quall's good.
I have seen.
Now, he couldn't do the rest of that show.
Well, he could if that's what he did for a living. Right.
I'm not trying
Maybe.
I'm not trying to throw
Mike
shade
Bobo
at him.
quarterback list.
I'm just saying, on the ESPN's game, he could come in and it would be no different.
Well, there's no doubt that had he wanted to be, he would have been not a star, a mega star in the WWE. He's got that in him.
Would he be like the Jimmy Hart kind of character?
I think he could do that. But, he was an athlete, so he could have been a wrestler too. He could have been a manager. He could have been a wrestler. He's got it. Well, the hype man, you call him the hype man. And, for those that have been to a game day, we're there at 5:15 and he was already wet with sweat and getting them up. Don't go quiet on me now. They're like, dude, we're not even kicking off for 30 minutes.
I think he could be a DJ at the club.
He could, for sure. A lot of things. Anything that involves hyping the crowd up. But not to toot my own horn, I've seen every reveal. For sentimental reasons, the first one at Page, and I don't know if we can dig that up, but Dr. Pantal.
Not because it was any good, just because it's sentimental.
No, it was great.
Oh, okay.
And it was a helmet from Dennis Harrison might have worn this helmet. Okay. No, he didn't go. Dennis Harrison went to Riverdale. He coached the Page. This helmet's from the 80s, 70s. And he put it on, and then he busted the Heisman pose, and it was so great. But the reveal or his pick Friday was the best I've ever seen.
And then I don't know if you saw the picture, but they let off the confetti at the same time, and he's standing up on the rail, probably about ready to fall off. It was really good. And shout out to those Nolensville students. They wanted us to be there. It's the first time since I've been doing this that we've gone to the same school 2 years in a row. And we were talking afterwards. I know we've gone to the traditional games, the Battle of the Woods, and I'm not so sure we don't need to go where they just begging for us to be there.
Well, or where a big game is, right? Yeah, that's kind of what ESPN's done, right? Colorado, you wanted game day, you got it, you didn't disappoint. My guess is it'll be back. But yeah, crowd was into it. That student section was phenomenal.
Mr. Bass, a media teacher, he was great.
Mr. Bass was phenomenal. Dr. Calvert was phenomenal. Dr. Pantal did not disappoint with his picks.
He's back. He's back.
Everything about it was great.
It was great.
Everything. And then, I know we're going to talk about the game. Do we talk about the band now or later?
Sure, jump in there.
The band is second to none. Sorry. Don't want to make it, at least if we're talking, now I don't know about competitions, but we're talking halftime entertainment. I watched it. No one, and I mean no one, left.
You had your phone out.
Had my phone out. I got video
tape.
We got the drummer in the Tommy Lee cage. No one went to the bathroom or to get food until after the band played.
It's pretty special.
It was special. It was awesome.
It's part of that whole atmosphere there. Tate, a shootout early. Franklin's leading 23-20 at the half. Zion Tamaska had a big second half with a couple of touchdowns. And really, I think it's a characteristic of a Paul Derrick team. Second half defensively, I've seen it many times. And obviously they have a good game plan, but his making adjustments at the half is really good defensively.
Yeah.
Franklin had been rolling, again, 23 points in the first half, 0 in the second half. Nolensville really takes over. We talk about Tamaska, 25 carries, 163 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and a receiving touchdown. Ty Collins, who I think is playing as well as anybody at the quarterback position, no experience, game experience until this year. He's 20 of 24. He's 293 yards. He's 3 touchdowns. And speaking, Tate, of a touchdown, let's look at the WCTV play of the week.
The underdog can ride emotion for a little while, and if Nolensville keeps pressing, then that kind of goes away, and as the saying goes, the cream rises to the top. And just like that, 14 on the connection. That's going to be Oliver Bender on the pass from Collins, breaks a tackle and scores a touchdown.
Yeah. Collins, as you said, Doug, great arm there, powers it through. Gaka tries jumping the route for the pick.
So big target for Collins.
That's a name we'll probably be calling on WCTV for a couple more years.
Years.
Well, great play, and you can see on the scoreboard, Franklin took the opening kickoff, took it down, scored. They take an early lead. Nolensville comes back. They march it down the field. That RPO, Centennial does a great job of it. You saw a bunch of it at Nolensville, and what it does is you can see it over there, man. That's what it's designed to do. That holds that linebacker. He can't drop into that area or that void where that slant was. Nice catch by Carano. He's got a big bodied that safety, made the catch, broke the tackle, and took it in. So that's tough to defend, even though it was a short pass. There's a lot that goes into that, and it was as well executed as it possibly could. So they've got a nice connection. It seems like every game, I'm willing to bet he's got a touchdown reception in every game. He's a heck of a target, and that was big because I think Franklin really came out and punched him in the mouth. They went back down there and scored. That was good. And you're right, Collins. It sounds silly saying it all the time, but 20 for 24. That's good going against air. They're going against a 6'8". There were 11 defenders out there. He's playing lights out, man. I think both. Here's what we're going to run into. If you told me Ty's the front runner for Region Player of the Year, I'm on board with that. But if you told me Zion was, I'm on board with that too. I mean, these guys are both having lights out seasons.
Franklin in a losing cause, Brewer Wilson to Wills Jackson. That's a combo we've seen quite a bit. Kia Hamilton with a rushing touchdown. Now listen, our man Lance West, who does a great job with this show and with the WCTV Games of the Week, he's buying on Kia Hamilton.
Buying or selling, he's all in on Kia Hamilton.
He's all in. His chips are on the table.
I believe the quote was one of the top 15 players in all of Wilco, and hey, he watches a lot of Wilco football. He'd know.
He does.
Plus, he's pretty good at fantasy football, too.
Let's go to Brentwood Summit. First region game for both teams. Closer than most expected. Only 7-0 Brentwood at the half. It ends up being 20-0. Total yards, Brentwood 301, Summit 229. But if you look at some other stats, first downs were the same. I think there were 15 each. Brentwood just a little bit too much talent-wise. Baylor Hayes with another great game. Gavin Nelson. You're talking about a stat stuffer. 27 carries, 94 yards, 5 receptions, 81 yards. Pretty good night for Mr. Nelson on offense.
Great night. He's had a few big weeks in a row. He's really, they kind of had not a running back by committee at the beginning of the year. They just had a few running backs that were really good and could play. He's really shouldering the bulk of the load right now due to some injuries, and he's taking it and run with it. But 27 carries, 94 yards, TD, 5 receptions, 81 yards. Here's what I thought was interesting. I heard a few people saying, "Hey, what's wrong with that Baylor Hayes guy? I thought he was supposed to be one of the best quarterbacks in the state." I was like, well, I think he is. He didn't look like it the other night. He went 10 for 12, 190 yards and a touchdown. Look at this. Look at what they did in the running game. It's pretty obvious. Summit said, if they're going to beat us, they're not going to beat us with him lighting us up in the air. He took what was there. I think that's the sign of a really good quarterback, right?
I do too.
They weren't going to give him that. Okay, we'll complete the ones that are there to keep them honest, and then we're going to give them a heavy dose of Gavin Nelson behind what I think that's part of why I felt that way at the beginning of the season. Why I think is the best offensive line in that region, Brentwood. So I think he did exactly what he was supposed to do.
Well, and no offense to our great fans in WCS or whoever asked you that. Most people that say stuff like that are paying for tickets.
Correct.
So take that for what it's worth.
Right.
Mason McElhaney, the QB for Summit.
It's like my good friend says, I tell you what, take the test, we'll give you a whistle, and you can come down here and help coach.
Mason McElhaney, 50 yards passing, 60 yards rushing for Summit. You know, I like, it reminded me of the guy that used to coach at St. Joseph. Now he's the assistant for Michigan. I can't think of his name right now. Basketball coach. He got mad because Billy Packer critiqued him. He said what Billy Packer needs to do is get himself a team
Exactly.
and see what he can do.
Then you can do whatever you want to, Big Bill. Hey, I thought no moral victories, especially at a program like Summit. But I think Coach Coleman and his staff had a good plan. I think they played that game exactly the way they needed to play it to have a chance to win. I think Brent was just better.
Shows you those kids aren't quitting either. Hey, here's a gem for you. You're going to like this week's gem, especially because you're on the Brentwood.
I like all the gems.
5-0, the Bruins are. For the first time since 2012, and that year, Tate, they go 8-0 to start the season. I'm going to tell you, listen, I'm with you on how good they are. They could run the table. They could go undefeated. But I'm like Mama Hester out there. I got one circled down.
That last one's a big one.
October 27th. I've got that one. So in that rivalry, to be undefeated and it be for the region title, there'll be some pressure on the Bruins if that happens.
No doubt.
Centennial, the more things change, the more they stay the same. 35-0 shellacking of Springfield. Another dominating performance. Tate, we talk about the offense and how explosive they are. Wells Stanley gets a touchdown reception. That's a guy we hadn't really heard from, so there's another target. But that defense gave up 107 yards total. They're playing well on both sides of the ball.
By the way, I know you like to call him Mallory Lane Mall. I think I'm going with Captain Stewart, 40-foot Donzie. I mean, this is just becoming maybe we need to take these to him and he just needs to wear them on Friday nights because he is the boat captain right now.
He won't be this week.
He might think he might be.
Against Nolansville. He might be the win, but he's not going to.
You know what?
He's not going to be the boat captain.
Percy Priest Lake Mall. That's where he likes to go. He likes to get on his Sea Ray Frozone, head over to Shipwreck Cove because the winds, it was so over. Hey, these guys are playing lights out. Here's what I've been most impressed
By the
with.
way, keep those close by.
That's why they're there. Here's what I like. There's been no letdown. They come out, first game as the head coach, the blackout uniforms, the blackout in the stands. They beat Franklin in the Battle of Franklin, get after them pretty good, and then they've been playing really well. There's been no letdown. And there could have been a letdown in this game. Hey, the film, you ever heard, of course you do because you did it in basketball, you ever heard the phrase, the film don't lie?
Yes.
The film don't lie. So whatever they told those guys, they're watching that film last week, and they're going, these guys can't beat us, right? And they went out there and did what they were supposed to do. They're playing lights out. Everybody talks about Dom Reed and Kenai Johnson and these. They've got so many weapons offensively. But if I was an opposing coach, what would scare me is this defense is playing with an attitude.
They are. And listen, we're not looking ahead. I mean, this week's game is going to be awesome. I've got October 20th circled for lots of different reasons. Centennial at Page.
That's going to be a physical football game. For all the skilled players and all the playmakers and all the excitement that'll go with those two teams, what that's going to come down to, that will be a physical football game.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Speaking of boat races,
He's back.
Ravenwood 49, Overton 7. Fourth straight win for the young Raptors. 2 fumbles early. They trailed 7-0 at the end of the first quarter. Second quarter, they got it together. 28 straight points. Ravenwood on a roll.
Coach Hester's more of a try-tune kind of guy. But he's got a 300 horsepower on the back. He had that thing all the way down. His wife, Miss Wendy, they were chilling. They were on the lake over this weekend talking about this 49-7 victory. Here's the scary thing, Coach. They had turned the ball over 3 times in the first 4 minutes of the game, and they still won 49-7. They fumbled the opening kickoff, and then they go out and they have 2 back-to-back turnovers. Seriously, there was 9 minutes on the clock, and they've had 3 turnovers. Not happy about that. But then they get settled down and they get a 49-7 victory over Overton. I think that just goes to show you how talented this team can be. You talked about 5 games in. That's a message Coach Hester's had is I don't want to hear about how we're playing a bunch of sophomores anymore. They're not sophomores anymore. They were. They got 5 games under their belt. It's time to grow up and tighten some of these things up. Defensively, we got to tighten them up. And on offense, we got to quit turning the ball over. Because when we don't, we're a dang explosive football team. And, hey, we got us a quarterback in Femi
Babalola. So listen, in the second quarter, Babalola, 2 touchdowns. Cy Longley, Patrick Sullivan, names we hadn't really called.
That's what I was going to say.
Carter Pace with a couple third quarter touchdowns. Jaden Smitherman, fumble recovery and interception. But they do have to clean that up. When you face a Brentwood and do like they've done the last 2 games, it won't be good enough. But I think they are going to clean that up.
Hey.
They're going to clean it up.
We're getting to it. You don't win this week if you don't clean it up.
Looking forward to this week's picks.
They're going to be fun.
You and the fans had a great week.
Excited to talk about it.
Y'all need a big one again. Fairview, 28-21 win at Cheatham County. That's their 3rd straight win. They're 2-0 in the region. They were down 21-14 entering the 4th quarter. Wendell Billingsley, 2 rushing touchdowns in the 4th quarter. Keeps getting it done.
He's a stud. He is a guy that you can say honestly is the best player on offense, and he's the best player on defense when he's playing defense a lot. So another big night. No surprise there. 2 touchdowns in the 4th quarter. Jax McCoy goes 14 for 18 for 156 yards. We talked about that on game day and on the show last week. He's getting better. Young quarterback, but he's 5 weeks in and he's playing better. And then you go and Billingsley is the leading tackler again. When these guys, that's what I've learned now. When the game is tight, he's going to be on both sides of the field. He's going to be on the field.
No question. You talk about Jax, 14 for 18. Again, nice management of the game. No interceptions. I mean, he's doing what he needs to do. Will Frank, a sophomore, 8 tackles. So they're playing well. 2-0 in the region. I think if you would have gone to the beginning of the year, Coach Hughes was thinking, we're going to be battling to make the playoffs. Now they're battling to have a home game.
2-0 in the region. We'll take that. That's as good as you can be. Again, win the ones you want. Now, I will say this. That's a little bit tighter than I thought it was going to be. But maybe Cheatham County has improved.
I doubt it. Independence goes to Beach and wins 28-7. Luke McNeely, the quarterback, had 3 rushing TDs. The defense held Beach scoreless until the last 2 minutes of the game. Now listen, this isn't maybe Beach's best team right now. They're still going to be a factor in those 5A playoffs, believe me. When it matters, they'll be there. That is a great win, I think, in terms of the dominance of that particular game. Maybe the Buccaneers didn't have any place for anybody to sit, and the fans weren't maybe coming out that night.
Something happened up there?
But I'm telling you, that's a really good football program that they dominated.
Yeah, that I would say not that they won because we thought they would.
We picked them.
But the way they won, yes, I thought that was the surprise of the week, big time. To beat them 28-7, like you mentioned, they didn't score till the end. That just doesn't happen to Beach. So whether you're a Beach fan or a Beach hater, it really doesn't matter. That doesn't happen to them.
That's right.
They find a way to score. So they shouldn't surprise us because, like we said, you look at their losses, they're to 2 really good teams. And one of them was in, triple overtime, I think. So We shouldn't be surprised, but the way they did it. So I just think that they've got so many things going. I think they're a team.
There's no question. They've got a great feel about them.
They don't have a Power 5 guy right now.
No.
But I don't see many weak spots. And don't forget, it doesn't always show up. Back when there wasn't as much to talk about, they might have the best kicking game in the region.
Which will matter in some of these games coming up and certainly going to matter in the playoffs.
McNeely's a playmaker.
He's a playmaker. Page 28, Coffee County 0. That was the last non-region game before 5 straight to end the season. What I like about this, again, Laverne, Coffee, Glencliff this week. Page is going to be healthy, and if I'm 5A and I'm in that league, I'm nervous with 4 games remaining that Page is going to be healthy. And they're going to be healthy those last 4. They are.
Coach Rathbone's done a great
Look
job
out.
of it. Yeah, he's done a great job.
Look
of
out.
It. Well, a couple things on this. Remember last year, now this Nolensville team's undefeated, but that Nolensville team last year was undefeated too. And they beat them, and then we saw what happened in the playoffs. So, yeah, I mean, Page doesn't have any plans on being number 2. They feel like they're going to be really good when they get healthy. You're right. They're going to be. Coach Rathbone's done a great job of doing it. And you see other guys stepping up. Palmer's coming around at quarterback. Not that he wasn't, but you can tell he's getting better. 3 touchdowns, and they just got so many guys contributing. And that defense is – Coffee County's, I mean, you know. Hey, you know Ron Crawford was the head coach there for 1 year?
I'm sure he stayed 1 year for a reason.
He did, yeah. I was going to call it the Jeff Breeden dump. But anyways, go back. I guess what I'm saying is this. Go back and look at their scores. They've scored some points. The Page defense is stingy.
Listen, I know a lot of people are on the Centennial wagon, and they should be. And I'm one of them. Love Centennial. But I said it early. The region title and going deep in the playoffs goes through Page.
Goes through Rutherville.
Now, Nolensville, they've got something to say about it too. Yeah. They're good too. But when it's all said and done, I think it goes through Page.
What does the great American philosopher Ric Flair say? To be the man,
you got to beat the man.
You got to beat the man.
And
till it happens, Page is the man.
2 straight state runners up, looking for a state title. Hey, let's talk a little volleyball before we get to Pick'ems. Franklin with the Battle of Franklin win. It's interesting. I like going over these standings every week because it so totally changes. Ravenwood, who was sitting atop the standings like 2 weeks ago, they're now 5-4. If the season ended today, they would be 6th.
It's unbelievable.
So you got Centennial. Centennial's going to finish last. They're 0-9. Everybody else honestly has a chance to win the state title. Nolan's won Page 3-6. Ravenwood 5-4. Indy and Brentwood 6-3. And when have you ever, and could you have imagined, that Franklin and Summit would be atop the standing 7-3? It's the toughest league it's ever been because we're all together. And would you have said 3 years ago, let's put us all together? And by the way, when we do, with about a week left in the season, Franklin and Summit are going to be atop the standings.
I would have taken that bet.
And you'd have lost.
Correct.
Now, I'll say it's not over, but I'm pretty impressed now with Franklin. Coach Beebe, what she's done in a very short period of time.
She's done a great job.
Coach Riker looking to get kind of in the tournament, trying to get a little further than they've been. He's got a squad too.
Iron sharpens iron.
I love it. And listen, I know when it's all said and done and somebody gets beat early in the playoff, but when you talk to people, I've talked to fans, I've talked to players, I've talked to coaches, they actually love it. Now, when they get beat early and they got to go home, they won't love it. It's better this way.
It's the SEC of
it's better.
Tennessee high school volleyball.
It's better. It's better in all sports this way. I'm sorry, it just is.
Tournament's going to be phenomenal.
And plus, when we get past our league, we're going to cruise on into the state tournament. Book it. We'll have 2 teams in the state tournament.
Yep. The way it ought to be.
Golf district tournament getting started this week. I know you and I and probably Charlie will probably head out to the region tournament next week. But it's at the Franklin Bridge this week. Got a lot of great teams, a lot of great golfers. Looking forward to reporting on that next week.
That's one of my favorite events of the fall.
It's fun.
Big time fun. Maybe Coach Ladd will drive us around on his golf cart again.
Hey, cross country, Southern Showcase. That's an event we're always in. Get this, Brentwood, the girls win the team event. And I'm telling you, that's no joke. In fact, on the girls' side, 237 runners. Janie Halterman, Independence, 3 events, 3 wins.
That's right.
17:38:52 her official time. And again, we go back to what you always say with track, with Brentwood. Their best runner finished 7th. So you're like, okay. And 12th, and 16th, and 17th, and 18th. That's
What do I always say about track?
death by 1,000 cuts, right?
That's what it
happened.
is.
So we had Rachel Hall 7th, Leah Banovac 12th, Lydia Cromwell 16th, Abby Cobb 17th. Lauren Banovac finished 18th. They just, the rich keep
5
getting
in the
richer.
top. 237 runners, 5 in the top 20.
Incredible. Hey, boys' side, Brentwood places 10th. 270 runners on the boys' side. Miles Raymer from Ravenwood, did he have a meet? He finished 2nd, 14:39:50.
Who is this guy that beat him?
That's what I'm saying. So get this. It's a school record. It's the 5th fastest time in the state's history.
That's unbelievable, really.
3rd best in the United States this year. Obviously, that other dude, he had at least a 2nd or 1st, and it's the best in the state this year.
We got to find that out. I'm gonna do a little digging on that. That's unbelievable. Congratulations. And think of all the accomplishments Miles has already had.
Incredible.
That's the best that he's got so far, and it was a runner-up. Unbelievable.
Asher Oates, Independence, another young man doing well, finished 20th. Now, Tate, let's finish up with this. Pick'ems, which I know you're excited to talk about. Last week, you and the fans go 7-0. You're still in last or 4th, whichever way you want to say
Yeah,
it.
Dad, that didn't he?
30-7. Fans are 31-6. Dr. Qualls comes back to the pack a little bit. He's now tied in 2nd with the fans. He went 5-2. He picked Franklin and he picked Beach.
Woo!
Indy's his school.
And he's picked them every week. I think he picked them against Oak. No, he
incredible.
didn't. Yeah, maybe.
6-1. I go 6-1. I missed the Franklin game.
Pretty strong.
So 33 wins. So it's getting close. And I'm telling you, this week, I think we got some separation potentially happening.
Where do the fans need to vote?
They need to vote on X, like you do every week. WCS CO Athletics. I like the setup there.
All
right, so I've tried to. I'll admit, because I put some of this together to get ready for the show. I try to set it up.
You're a thinker. I've always said that. You're not this. You're this.
So I'm going to start the picks. I'll go first this week because it's a tough one.
This is a tough one.
Brentwood 5-0, 1-0 in the region versus 1-4, 0-1 Overton in the region. The main message for Brentwood is let's get through it. Let's play some of the puppies, the young fellas, get them in there, get some experience. Let's move on. Let's get through here unscathed. Brentwood dominates. They'll be up about 30 in the second quarter. Brentwood wins.
I'm never going to catch you. You really have been lights out the first half of the year. I'm never going to catch you without doing some radical things.
It's not this.
But it's not this one. Overton, it's at Overton. Nice stadium. We'll be out of there and down Franklin Road and back at wherever it is we go, Jefferson's. We might be at Jefferson's by 9 p.m.
We may have a few people stopping by the clubhouse at the Brentwood Country Club.
Yes, without a doubt. Is it open? I've noticed the greens are torn.
I don't know.
Wherever you like to go in Brentwood, you should be there by 9 o'clock.
That's right. Plenty of time.
If Baylor Hayes takes a snap, Matthew Manning, Clay, if any of those guys take a snap in the third quarter, we didn't show up to play.
That's what'll happen. We both say Brentwood. Now, I'm going to let you pick. This is so tough. A couple of weeks ago, I think I knew. I know what I'm picking. But after watching Nolensville, Centennial hosting Nolensville, both 5-0, both 1-0. No, I didn't circle anything yet. I don't do that. I saw you peeking. I don't circle until I announce it. In fact, I really don't even know what I'm going to do. So I'm letting you pick first. Centennial at home versus Nolensville.
This is tough. And I'm not trying. This isn't,
It's
heel,
tough.
baby face, heel, baby face. I'm being serious on this one because 2 weeks ago I'd have said Centennial, no questions asked. Man, I saw a lot out of Nolensville the other night. That's a good football team with, as you know, I've always said this. I think Paul Derrick He doesn't talk as much. He likes to be in the shadows. I think Paul Derrick is as good of an X and O football coach anywhere. So what you were talking about, his halftime adjustments, no surprise to me. That guy knows flipping football. But you were talking about buying and selling. I'm buying on Centennial, man. I think they're athletic. I think they're physical as heck. This game's won in the trenches, and Centennial's got better trenches.
I thought you were going to pick Nolensville. But I'm picking Centennial too. And I'm telling you, the only difference for me is where it's played. If this game were at Nolensville, I'd pick Nolensville.
You would?
Mm-hmm, I would.
That's a home crowd advantage.
It is, but I won't be surprised either way. You know what I told Coach Derrick last week, and he had that little look on his face like he wasn't listening? He's listening. I said, I guarantee you, we've all been talking, hey, it's Centennial and it's Page. You guys at Nolensville are saying, hey, we got a program, don't forget about us. He's like, next game. They know.
Yep. And
Nolo's in the mix.
And come playoff time, this might be a different pick. But right now, I'm going with the Cougars.
I agree.
What do you think Q will do?
Centennial.
Okay.
I think he will. Fairview, Creekwood, non-region game. Creekwood has wins over winless Montgomery Central. I think they beat them by 1. And Whites Creek, who they're not good. They lost to Dixon County.
They were in the 80s.
Lewis County and Pearl Cone. I think this is a pick 'em, to be honest with you. It's on the road, but I'm picking Fairview. I'm sticking with the county team on this one because it's a pick 'em. If it wasn't a pick 'em, I'd go with, whatever. But it's a pick 'em. Fairview's winning.
Yeah. I agree. I think this is a tough one. I just... What'd you say they beat White Creek?
Do you have to get back in it?
I got to get back in it.
14.
And so I'm thinking
they
this
beat
is...
them 14-6.
I just can't. I can't roll with that. Like, Glencliff will beat Whites Creek.
So you going with Creek?
No, I mean, I might as well just hand you another. Like, I want to shake it up, but I can't on this one. Plus, I think Fairview's playing better and getting healthy. They are healthy. I'm going with the Yellow Jackets.
So right now it's chalk.
It's chalk.
Okay, here's another one. And let me remind you.
By the
Tate,
way,
can I remind you that
not only was it impressive the order of the picking, it's very impressive the order of the games. I'm pretty sure it
is so stacked.
It's not alphabetical.
Listen, home court advantage. Well, the last one is, anyway, whatever. We'll analyze that afterwards. Summit Franklin. So let me remind you before you make the pick first.
I know what I said.
What did you say?
Franklin will make the playoffs.
They don't win this, they don't.
I know that.
So who you got?
I got Franklin.
Okay, I'm picking Summit. There we go.
Yeah.
I'm going Summit.
Woo-wee. Where is it?
Summit.
It doesn't matter.
Tate, you're going Franklin. I'm going Summit. I think it's a toss-up. And here's what I think the difference is. First of all, neither team in recent history is totally used to winning. So somebody's going to have to come through at the end where they haven't before. I think the difference is how last week felt. I think Summit is coming into it going, you know what? Everybody said we're going to get killed by Brentwood. We hung in there. Now we're at home, and this is for the playoffs. I think they're feeling different. I think this will be the first time that Franklin, it's natural to feel down.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was a heartbreaker.
So I'm going Summit. Plus, a lot of people like to say I'm a
Franklin homer. I used to say that too. I can remember when Dr. Qualls got on the Grayson Murphy, Greg Glass basketball train, and coach, all Dr. Qualls cares about is independence. I said, hold on a second, boys. He was the biggest. Everybody was saying that about him and John Carter and old Sparty 2 years ago. So, hey, they're all y'all's teams, man. You just call it the way you see it. Now, let me say this. You got your Coach Joins hat on there pumping up the Summit crowd. I know what you were doing. A little motivation there. But let me tell you something. Franklin did have a heartbreaker. But guess what, boys? We got no choice, right? We can feel sorry for ourselves and say, hey, we lost and we were up at halftime and we were so close. And it doesn't really matter. The bottom line is we got to get our first win, and this is the next one. We got a chance to win. So we got no choice but to show up and play our tails off or whatever off. You know what I'm saying? Plus, what I saw was a football team that can score some points. I stand by it, and I'm not just doing it to try to catch up or because of what I said at Mojo's back in July. That was July 1st,
You're going to
right?
remind me of the same thing when Brentwood plays Ravenwood, aren't you?
Yeah, but Franklin's going to win this football game.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, Coach Coleman.
I think it'll be
But
close.
now I'm riled up.
You are. It reminds me of my speech at game day.
I don't know if anybody goes back and watches the game days.
I think I got out of breath for a second.
They need to watch it because, one, Dr. Qualls was on it. And, dude, you were like you were Coach Joins, Dr. Qualls. It was like.
I got out of my role for a second.
But
I'm supposed to be the QB.
But no, that's not true. You were Coach Joins. It was awesome. He was fist pumping in the crowd after thumping Cane Ridge. It was awesome.
Hey, and listen, before we give Dr. Qualls total credit on loving everybody, the one love fest that's been consistent is with Hester.
He tried to turn Nolensville game day into Will Hester hour.
There we go.
Paulie D wears a visor. You didn't say anything about that.
He loves Will Hester almost as much as his mama, who's watching right now.
Dang right she is.
Paige
She's not,
Glencliff.
and she's not happy with me.
Paige Glencliff. Obviously, we can do this quicker. We both picked Paige by about 70.
Yes, but I don't like making fun of them.
Okay.
But yes,
I'm not making fun of them.
No, I know you're
They're gonna
not.
get killed.
I'm just glad. I respect them. This is whatever Coach Bone wants it to be.
All right, last pick, and it's on purpose because it's the WCTV game of the week. We got to pick. So the only thing we've got different right now is you've got Franklin, I've got Summit. Independence hosting Ravenwood. WCTV game of the week. Who you got in this one, Tate? It's your pick.
This is a tough game.
And I know who I'm picking, by the way.
Coach
I'm not
Coach
gonna go.
Stidham, I think, is doing as good. Coach Stidham and Coach. That's not fair. No, yeah, it is fair. I think Coach Stidham is getting the most out of his team of anybody.
I agree.
And I think he's really sharp. He does something that you don't see much, and it's hard to defend. All right, Ravenwood hadn't seen what they're getting ready to see from Independence's offense, and they're not going to see it again unless they see him in the playoffs. Hard to get ready for that in 3 days. But they did have Overton last week. So my guess is it was cloaked as Overton, but some of those practices last week, they're probably sitting there going, man, why is the scout team running the option? Overton doesn't run the option. So all that to be said, it's not a sign of disrespect, but I'm going to go with Ravenwood. I think Ravenwood's got this thing going. Firepower.
Believe it or not, that's who I was going to pick too.
But
I wasn't going to change it based. No, I'm picking Ravenwood.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And I've got to go back to what I said early. My surprise team in the league. Who did I say?
Independence.
I
But you
stand by
picked
it.
Ravenwood to win it.
That's right. I stand by it. Independence is going to finish third. They're going to be third, which I think they don't want to admit it right now. They would have taken that.
Have to.
They're going to finish third in the region. I said Ravenwood's going to win it, which I about half believe right now, but I'm going to stick with it. Ravenwood wins this game. Close game, great game.
But isn't that the way we won at games where, hey, man, I really don't.
I don't know.
I'm picking them, but I don't know that I believe it.
I don't know. Tate, we spent a lot of time on the picks, but I think it's an exciting part of the show.
Pick'ems is fun, and it is. We love them all, man, but, you just got to be honest. And
No game day, and I can't really decide what game I'm going to hit this week.
Ooh.
Maybe Centennial, no.
Where's Summit Franklin?
Summit?
Maybe you can do a 2-for-1.
Maybe. Every time I talk about doing that, I never do.
Coach White might be able to. She's got a street legal golf cart. Maybe she can drive you over. Probably won't.
No, she's not going.
I know who's definitely not driving you to Summit. Dr. Pat.
All right, Tate, appreciate you being here. Looking forward to talking about this next week.
Do we know where we're going for the next game day?
No, but coming soon.
We coming. We ain't hard to find.
Ain't hard to find. Thanks, Tate.
Yeah, brother.
Thank you for joining us for Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.